We talked about raw context and filter context. So raw context, this refers to the active row. So when you go to your data, you have those rows. Every transaction or every entry lies or is embedded in its own row. And the formula that is examining at that level, we say it is a row by row. So when you're getting a sum or an output, like we said that in a row, you'll find that you have a price, you have a quantity. When you multiply them, the two, you get the answer, which is the amount or the revenue in the same row. It means that you have done a row context, row by row, or it is a row context that it is already hard coded. The answer or the output will always live in that row. It means that that individual record is already stored in your books. So then for filter context, we said this is computed whenever in real time, whenever the user needs to look at the data. So filter context is not static, but raw context is static. And raw context, we related it to calculated columns. The filter context, we related it to measures. When you create a measure, it is just a dummy of the formula or a DAX that sits in the back end. That whenever the user selects that I want to see the totals of USA, maybe you're having countries, that's when that total computes. And that's why we call it a filter context. Defines the visible data through slicers and filters. Then the raw context looks at the current row for calculations. I think I explained that very well. For those who were not around or had dropped off the call, there you go. Now, let's look at now the analysis we looked at the star schema last time in our data modeling, and we said, let me go to our data. So this is our data. I will close and apply. So this is the file we are still on. Close and apply. I'm closing and applying. It should give us what we need. I hope you can still see my screen. Yes. Now, when we go to our data modeling, because this was something that you meant to do, then you come to DAX. So when we look at this, we said this is a star schema. We even defined the difference between a star schema, snowflakes, and galaxy. So snowflakes, you'll find that like Dim City has already another child table that is connected to it that is not connected directly to the fact tables. That now becomes a snow schema. Then this is a star because all the dimensions are connected to the fact table. And when you put them together and you align very well your layout, it is like a star. If I right clicked here and I said collapse all, you see that it looks like a star. It is in a star model. That's why we call it a star schema. So whenever you have this, you have to note out what is your dimension and what is your fact. We looked at that naming conversion. Why am I going back? Because it is so important when you come to DAX. And that's why I was telling you last time that the moment you don't do the modeling very well, the next phases are going to break. So here now you can clearly note that we have 5-dimension tables and 1 fact table, which means when we start populating, all the quantitative aggregations happen in the fact table. Then if there is anything we shall need to relate to the dimension, there is a function that there are those custom functions that we shall be using. And you'll get to know more of them as you practice and try to use them and maybe even research about them. using maybe AI. So I'm not going to explore this data because we already know it. We have used it like I think for the last 3 sessions we have had. So you have to look at the analysis of your star schema components. You review what is my fact table, which is the central, then the other lookup tables, which we call dimension tables. Reviewing do I have the surrogate keys, where do I have the primary keys, and name them. Then after that, we do now the evaluating of active and inactive. We saw that here we only have the inactive, which is only one. So when we are using this, it means there is a function we shall use somewhere, which we call, let's say, user relationship. There is a function called user relationship. You can call it a DAX. So most of the cases when you're putting together your data analytics expressions, you have to know all that, such that when you're working on an expression and doesn't give you the answer, come back to your modeling. Something may have gone wrong, or something may be happening what you're not sure, or you're not uh, understanding, like a clear understanding to your data set. So we talked about calculated columns and measures. Those who were not around, if we go back to our data, actually we go back to home and we go back to transform data, we created a calculated column. Then what are the advantages and disadvantages of calculated columns and measures? Maybe I will. Okay, when we look at the fact final, which is our fact table, we created a calculated columns. We created many calculated columns. Those were on the call or even on the previous recording. This short one was a calculated column. When we look at how we created this, so we created this calculated column by adding a column from an example. Then we came and created revenue. Revenue was created by multiplying the price and the quantity, if you remember very well. Then performance, here we created a custom column. If you check, all of them are here. So we created a custom column where, yeah, this was it. So if you check here how we created this condition column, we ran a condition that if revenue is less than 600, make it low. If revenue is less or equal, is between less than 800 or equal to 800, make it medium. If it is greater, make it high. So that comes that in case you want to use search in your filters, you plan it earlier. Then we came and created another column. I think that was duplicating, something like that. Yes, here. Yeah, we created another column. We saw how we can create a column by index. That is just coming here. You add an index, and this index you can choose how it should start. So we chose our index to start from 100, then to keep adding 100. So that one is in case you need to add an index to number your transactions. Then we created another by extracting the first letters, which were 3, I think. We just tried out 3 because, yeah, we tried out 3 counts. So that is all these, if you can look at the recording we did last time. Now, what here I was trying to show us is running still through the differences before we put our short up there, because it is important for you to know why we deal with calculated columns and why we go with measures. So looking at what I'm sharing, if you looking at that, so calculated columns, first of all, on evaluation context, we said this one operates exclusively in row context. and this one operates in a fixed context. That is done. Then when you're doing calculation timing, computed once during data load, when you're transforming and you create your calculated column, it computes once and it will keep refreshing with the model. But for the measures, they are computed dynamically on the fly. Whenever the user filters, that's when we compute this. It means we don't store it anywhere. And now that brings us on the RAM and the disk storage. That when you have many calculated columns, values are calculated and physically saved on your model, it consumes your RAM. Then here, values are not stored in the model and it saves your RAM than the calculated ones. Now, someone will be asking himself, why then do we have to go with calculated columns? At some point, you need them. Not to have complicated DAX, you need them. Like, you'll not have a complicated DAX this side every time calculating revenue by multiplying quantity and price whenever you need revenue. But what you do, you create a calculated once, then you keep referring to it for revenue. You get like how we did. That not every time you need revenue, like let's say you need year-to-date revenue, then you have to go back and calculate price times quantity. But you minimize on how many calculated columns you have in your data set. If some can be neglected for measures, then we shall go with that. As how we are going to look at it. Then the ideal use cases. Here it is used in ideal for slicers, visual access. Like when you're creating a bar chart, you can pick one column and put it on the x-axis. That's it. Filters, row groups, and category labels. Then this one is used in cards, in summaries, percentages, averages. Now, like when you're getting a percentage month to date, you can't get it as a calculated column. It is going to be heavy for you. That every time you're pulling that percentage, you have to use a weighted average. Yet, you can calculate it as a measure, such that every time you pull it comes as a weighted average without you thinking of what is happening in the background. But when you create percentages in a calculated column like here, let's say like here, every time you pull this into your visuals, it will maybe do a sum and it gives you like 2000%. Then you have to look out for, I have to average it, then I have to get a weighted average for me to make sure that I have the right answer. So you note that whenever you're using them. Then the best reference here style can reference individual row values directly without aggregation. Like referencing individual row values, like referencing a price and a quantity directly. But this one requires explicit column aggregations. Like you have to nest, maybe nesting means combining measures, bringing two measures together. Like what I was telling you, that if we are going to calculate revenue, every time on a different measure, maybe we want year to date, then we have to look out for price and quantity, then we calculate revenue for that year to date. We shall find ourselves nesting it. So it is better you do it direct here, then here you pick it, you reference directly from the column itself. This is very important when you're doing your data sets. The moment you think about RAM, then you know what you have to do. The moment you think about how you want it to calculate, you completely know how you're going to run that. So I think that is, I think we have summarized out what it takes for us. Now, let's deep dive now into our measures. I will go ahead and home, then close and apply if we have changed anything. If you have not changed, you always close and ignore the changes. So I will close and apply. I will wait it for it to apply. No change was done. Here we go. Okay. So this is what we had done last time. I want by maybe show of hands, if you don't remember or if you didn't get us on how we got this table for measures. If you got that or if you still remember, then I will have to push on something else. By show of hands, if you can. Actually, this fact cell, we don't need it because if you check our model, we hid it here at the side, so we don't need it. So if, what you always have to do as a data analyst is to make sure you remove clutter in your face. So since I don't need this, please always hide it. Just come here, you say hide. Then yeah, you can go ahead. Hide from the model, then it has to disappear. Yeah, Andrew, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I need a recap on those tables.
Which tables? How to create a measure table? I guess that is it because these tables
Yes.
just yeah. Because these ones just came with when we did transformation. Then because these are from the source where this data is seated. How we created a table, a table that we are going to create all our measures inside. We talked about it that actually we tried it out that when we were creating any measure, it was getting lost in these other tables. Remember, these other tables have a lot of columns. We may not keep looking for what we have created as measures. And at some point, you'll find that you have over 70 measures. How do you manage them? So we said this is the way you create a table that is going to encapsulate all your measures. What you do, you always look out for enter data. This enter data is the easiest you can use. But also there is another option of using this, create a new table, where here, new table. But this one will request you write a DAX expression to create a new table. For now, since we are even going to learn DAX, I don't want you to take you to that stage before we reach there. So we use always enter data. So you can always use it from the data model view or from the report view, but it is always good when you're creating these tables and what you always click on model view such that you have it in the right hands. So when I click on model view, so enter data, it is going to obviously open a dialog for us to enter data in a table. But we all know that we are not going to enter any data, we just need the table itself. The only thing we are going to do is giving it a name. So this table comes with one column, one row, that is one cell, empty. Don't touch anything. Here our main issue is giving it a name. Last time I said the keywords, there are keywords in Power BI which we don't use when we are renaming. A keyword like date, you don't use it. A keyword like measure, you don't use it. A keyword like, there are those keywords that hold functions, you don't use them. So here we are going to use, let me choose a table, then measure. So we looked at the naming convention. Now this one is already there. It tells me the queried name table measure already exists. I will have to give this a 2 such that it is different. So the moment you've done that, go ahead and do next. And it will ask you, all cells in the table are empty. I'm okay with it because I never wanted to put there anything. So you go ahead and create the table. So when we go back to the visual view or the report view, okay, it has opened transformation, that is the Power Query editor, showing me the table that has been created, well and good. I'll close and apply. Here we go. So it is applying this, applying the changes. You always give it time, don't force it, because something will always be running in the background. So just a moment. Okay, it's taking long, but here we go. We have it. It taking long is not the data we are having, but it is just my machine that is running a lot of things I didn't close. Now, when you look at this, you'll allow me annotate here. So we have our first table. We have our first table here, and we have our second table here. Now, when you check these tables, the icons are not the same. You get? There is a reason to that. So the other icon is already showing us that this is a measure table, that it only has things, or it only has calculated measures. And when you check this, we shall find that there is only that column that was empty. So how do you make sure that it doesn't look like all these ones, like all these ones here? These ones here, you see, how do we make sure that the icon doesn't look like those? This is what we do. So when you come here, I can't delete this column where I can't hide it because I haven't put anything in that table. It will disappear. So the first thing is we create our first measure. Or even if I bring a measure from this side and put it here, then we shall see the changes. Let's see how we move the measures from one table to another. In case your measure has been dislocated somewhere, how do you move it? The moment you click your measure and you're under report view here on home table, it will always show you the table it is in. So you can always change the table. The moment you change it, that measure will always shift and move to that table you have moved it. So which means we have two tables, we have moved here the measure. Now when you have moved something there, here now you're okay to go ahead and hide this. You can either hide it or you can always delete it. But hiding it, if it doesn't have anything, you can use the two, delete from model or hiding. So when I say hiding, still it will go ahead and hide. So it hiding, you automatically see that the icon has changed because it is only having DAX or measures that are calculated, not any column exists. So since now we are having two, which means we can delete one. So I can move this back to table one like this. Then automatically when I move, because the other one remains with nothing, it automatically disappears. You get? So you should always not do that mistake. Removing any column when you still need the table. At least there has always to be one item. Okay, I think that is got clear. Then let's start creating our measures. Now, most of the cases when you have data like this, and you don't know exactly which measures am I going to use, you can always get a framework and apply it to any chatbot. It will always give you by a description that, you know what, as a business we have problem ABCD. We want to know why customers are churning. We want to know why the credits are not, the payments are not coming in time and all that. You'll always get at least the few KPIs to start on. But if you have already discussed the KPIs with your team, well and good. But the most time people take is always to discuss what measures do we need to analyze on our dashboard. So those measures are essential, so you can always go and ask maybe ChatGPT to give you the mandatory measures. Let's say you can say, I want 10 measures that will help me maybe report about the growth and the failure of revenues in the business, report about customers' behavior, report about salesperson's performance, report about, even if you're in finance, you tweak it to your KPIs. It will give you the KPIs you need, the mandatory ones. Then you run with those. Obviously, when you put when you ask it an anonymous and give it the data set, maybe framework, it will give you like 70, 80. And at the end of the day, you don't need all of them. So you have always to be calculative. Now, let's start with the basic measures. The basic measure, the first one is to sum up the gross sales revenue generated across all transaction lines. So we saw gross revenue, we shall be adding up. If I can click on this. So where is our revenue? Was here. So this is, if we want the gross revenue, how do we get this? Now, how we get it, this is how you start when you're creating a measure. When you want your measure always to drop in your measure table, click on the measure table before you click on create a new measure. So click there, then you come on create a new measure. Then just a moment, our formula bar is going to appear. Here we go. Then here I'm going to type total revenue. So I can put an underscore or you can put a space depending on how you want it. But I always tell people that the moment you go with a naming convention, stick with that. So here I will say total revenue equals to, by the way, in Power BI, you can even put spaces. You can even tab, so long as you make your work neat. You know, when you come back to update, it becomes easy when you have made it neat. We are going to do that together. Now, how do we get total revenue? That one we're going to use the sum function. Open brackets by tapping the tab button. The moment you open the bracket, it will show you all the columns and the tables that you have. You see here it starts with dim city. There are very many. Now, in case I have exactly what I need, because I have already explored my data, it is offhead. I know all the columns I'm dealing with. So here I can start typing revenue, it will come. And if you remember very well, I told you this. You'll help me just allow me annotate this. That when you're dealing with your DAX, the syntax, it will always give you the table and the column. So first of all, you'll always start with the table and the column. So whenever you're referring to any column, you have the Power BI will always first want to know which table is it. It means even if we have 3 tables and they all have a column revenue, we can easily tell which revenue are we adding. So that's it. So here I will come when I type revenue. No. I will, yeah, this is it. Revenue. So you click on it or you press tab, it will action, then you close the bracket. The moment you close the bracket, I'll go ahead and commit to accept what I've done. The moment I commit, here we go. It has already actualized here as total revenue. Let's try it out by creating a scorecard. So I'm going to create a scorecard, then I dump there my total revenue. It is giving us 19.92, which is exactly here, which we did last time. So when you click on this, you'll see what measure we used here. Here we didn't use a measure, we used the calculated column and we did the sum from here. Then when you check on this is I think where we used the measure. So the moment you click on a visual, it gives you what was used to populate it. So here you see there is a check on this table. I will check, they used color, then they came on measure, they picked the measure total sales, which is giving us that. Now, before we go further, if I want to change the formatting of this, just click on your measure, then you check the formats here. Change the format as long as how you like. If I want to change this to currency, I will click on dollar. It will automatically change and give me that, right? If I want, so the way how it has changed is not the way how I need it. See dollar 19 point that. Now it has given me all the decimals and I want to reduce on the decimals because here it is giving me auto. You can say, I need only 2 decimals like this. Just click out, it will automatically refresh and give you the 2. If you want the 1, still you can reduce to the 1 like that, right? If you don't want decimals, still you can, there are a lot of things you can use here. You can say I want it as a whole number, then it gives you as a whole number 20 million. So that's it. Now, if someone may ask himself, what if I want the whole number read like how it is here? That is different. Whenever you've clicked on a visual, there is this button that will always appear for you to edit, right? Or to add a visual. Then there is this for you to also add something else, but I'm going to leave those for now. So we shall come here and activate our format. You see this format. And I think when we started, I told you that if you don't have these icons here, you can always tell me. There is a setting we do. I think even I created a video on that. I can share with you, then you go and check that. There is something you check, then your icons come here such that it is easy for you to shrink them like this whenever you need enough space. So now I want to go to formatting. So let's look at the formatting for this scorecard. We want to release this number not to have an M. You just come and look for where there is a card. Look out for value. No, it is call out. You look out for value. You may not get value here until you click here and you say total revenue, then it will give you the values here. So when you come to value, if I can enlarge this, when you come to value, there is something here, display units. Display units, it is auto, so that's why it is having a million. So if I want to put it in thousands, you can put it in thousands. It gives you 19918K, meaning that it is divided by 1,000. So if I don't want anything, I just say none, and it will give me all the values. So that's where you change this from. So display units. Just what you have to make sure that you have to change here the card and select total revenue, because that's what we are on. Because remember, this is a multi card that you may have added other things like profit and all that. So you have to select what you want to deal with. The moment it is on all, you may not get the value sometimes. Or even if you get the value, you will not get that option. You see that option is not here. But the moment I change this to revenue, the option appears. I remember someone called me that I've spent the whole day looking for display units. I can't get them. That is the reason here. So you always have to check what you want, then it will give you this. You can even customize how you want it to appear. You can even put your name behind. It is all up to you. So for now, we leave it. Okay, we take it back to auto like that. And we remove whole number here. We put back to decimal number. And it should be giving us, it should be refreshing. So when you're doing formatting, you do it for each of the measure. That if I select this measure and come back to decimal here, I would put 0, then we increase this to 2. You should be getting that. I can type the 2 because clicking delays. So here we go. We have created our total revenue. That is the sum. So most of the cases, is there any question by the way? Because these are the basics on how you put together your DAX. Any question? Then we go to, let's calculate our total profits. Do we have profits in our table? So we can always go back and check whether we have profits. Just click on our fact table. You check whether you have a column for profits. Did we have a column for profits? Yes, here it is. So in case we need a measure for, I'm going to delete this. Just if you can allow me, delete this, remove. So if you want to delete, you can either use a delete button. If it doesn't work, come on these 3 dots and say delete, remove. we shall see all this in. So let's say if we want now to calculate our total profit, still click on your table for measures, then you go to create a new measure. I'm not creating using a quick measure because this one will necessitate us to have Copilot or something like that, but we shall try it at some point. First of all, let's first get the basic. So, before we shall arrange even the other one. So here we do total. We are doing total profit underscore profit like this, which is equal to someone to annotate with me.
I think we are going to introduce an equation.
An equation is already there. Is
Sum.
it? Let me increase this. When you hold a control on your keyboard, and if you're using a mouse and you scroll down, like you're scrolling down, you'll always increase that in case you're training someone and you want it to be visible, or even you yourself. So you see how I have made it visible or enlarged. So you can always do that. Tell me, sum, tab, we are calculating total profits.
Maybe look for the profits.
Yeah, I start searching for profit because I know profit. Now, since I have two tables, I have to be keen. I'm not using this table, I hid it. That's exactly the reason why we said that any table you're not using, hide it from the other transformation and it should never come to your data model. So this table is there in our model, though we didn't make relationships with it. So you see it will keep popping up, and at some point you'll find that you have clicked on it and you have wrong answers. You don't know where the wrong answers are coming from. So hide what you don't use. So that is it. So here we go ahead and close. The moment you close and you see green everywhere, then you go ahead and commit. That is our total profit. Now, since we already have our multi card here, I can click on it. Then when you come to building here, then I bring total profit at the bottom to be number 2. So you see now the card for profits has added itself. Because this is a multi card, you can add more than even 6 visuals, right? So you see now this is total profits. Now there is another option how you would have wanted it to be, but this is going to be visual. I don't want to skip to the lesson we haven't reached. So when you want to create it as a reference, like you want it to be here at the bottom, you can say the total profits, let's put it here at the bottom like this. You have seen people having reports with such cards. You have revenue here, then the total profit is here. It means if I click on brooms, it changes. On brooms, we made 380K and a profit of 209K. When you go to black, we made 3.3M with a profit of 1.7M. And this was a good business. 50% to Kenneth. I think you see good EBITDA here. So that's how you can create it. So that you see now there is this difference and there is this difference. So you'll find that this is more intuitive when you're creating reports. We're going to look at that than putting them together like this. So when you're here, it is easy for anyone looking at the report that, oh, this is the revenue and this is the profit we have done, rather than when it is in a straight line like this. We are going to look at all this. Okay, now let's first go back and I show you something on our measures. I want to show you how we arrange these measures such that next time when we come back, it is easy for us to update. Now, when you click on this and press a shift and enter, you'll always put it on another line. This one doesn't break in DAX. It is just arranging your DAX to make sure that everyone can read it and understand. So if I do tab, you see I put it on another line, like I put it on another step. Then I want to leave the function only there. Press shift enter, this one goes down. Press shift enter, this goes down. Very neat. Anyone coming to look at this they easily read that this is the function, this is the table, this is the column, and here you have closed. And when I do OK, nothing changes. Everything is the same. So that is the beauty in Power BI using DAX. Than it could be in Excel. But even in Excel, it has been improved that you can also do this. But in Excel, you do it with care anytime it is breaking. Okay, let's do the same with total profits, just to make sure that our DAX looks clean. Shift Enter, tab once, put it on another level. Shift Enter here, Shift Enter here. There we go. Now you can even add a comment. So when you put 2 slashes, you can add a comment. So after this, outside this bracket, if I put 2 slashes, you see it becomes green. Now I can add a comment. So you see this, if I commit, it doesn't change any value. But you know what I have done to anyone whom I'm going to hand over this report? It has not changed anything. But what I have done here, that if this DAX was big enough and every line is explained, that is the beauty that you can always have. Even you yourself, when you come back to that report after 3 months, you're asking yourself, what was I doing here? Or maybe if you want an expression, and maybe you come in my inbox and I tell you, if you want to calculate that, this is the mode of the DAX, the way you're going to put it right. Now, you have not learned it at the go, or you have got it from AI, and AI has explained for you how every line is explained. Please put comments such that when you come next time, you know exactly what you were doing. So that's how we put comments, by putting 2 slashes, double slashes. The moment you remove 1 slash, it ceases to be a comment, and it is going to give you errors. You see those red lines? They are already showing us a red flag that you have errors. That's not the way how you write a function when you have a sum. So make sure that you always have those double slashes. Then when you want to move, your explanation is long, you always use a star, such that when I use a star, even if I break this one on a new line like this and come here and close with a star, then like this, you see, that's how, if you're having a lot of explanations and it is creating a new line, you always use a star. Let me remove the closing star. Still, I think it works. So a slash and a star, in case, it doesn't. You have to close with a star, then slash like this. Boom. Let's commit. The end of the input was reached. Yep, here we go. So if you need to if you're putting a description that is long and it spreads on a new line, you always have to do like this. Slash, star, then you put your comment, slash, star. But in case it's going to be on one line, then you always have, like if I leave it like this and I commit, it has to give me an error. You see this error? Because it is not on a same line. The moment I take it on the same line and I commit, there is still an error, because when it is on the same line, there are 2 slashes like this. There are 2 slashes here like that. And even, you see what happens? Your report breaks. Yesterday I was having another class. I was telling them that you need always to create versions of your report. If you're going to do something else, save it as a different copy. Work with a different copy. You can even give it a name. And that name you can put the date when you have updated it, such that whatever you have given your boss doesn't break until you have confirmed and tested that the additions you have done have not broken your dashboard. So here, if I commit, good. Well and good, because even the visuals come back. That's how it is. So that's how you create the basic measures. Let's look at now the measure that needs divisions. Let's getting a profit margin percentage. How do we get a profit margin percentage? Is we use a divide function. So I'll click here. I'll click on my table because I don't want my measure to meander and get lost anywhere. Click here, then come and create a new measure. Then, okay, I'll wait for the formula bar to appear. And that is going to be our profit margin percentage. Yes. So how do we get profit margin percentage? Is profit divided by revenue. Total profit divided by revenue. Since we have both, boom, well and good. So here I'm going to say this is my profit margin percentage, like this. Now, since we know what we are doing, that is easy. I will just come here on the next line, make a tab, then start. What are we starting with? We are dividing, right? So we are using a divide function like this. Now you see why this one is not showing to be a function, because I've not put equal signs here. So when you put equal signs and come back here, you'll realize that when you're typing divide like this, it will be dropping as a function. Now when it drops, I tab, it opens. Now divide tells me put the numerator, comma, put the denominator, comma, then put the alternative result. In case we don't have anything, we have seen those formulas in Excel that give us blank, not available, NA. But for us, we may determine what we want to put. So this is how our numerator, since now I already know how I can put my data clean, I will shift enter, just a moment, shift enter, it has created a new line. Now what is my numerator? My numerator is the total profits, right? Now when you already have a measure, how you call for the measure is by opening square brackets. You see, when we open square brackets, it brings all the measures we have here. You get? So when you open square brackets, it brings the measures. Then we choose the measure we want. You get this? They told us that when you divide, you put a comma. Then you bring the denominator. Let me put the denominator also at the bottom. By shifting enter, that is blocking me. Okay, bring it here at the bottom. So our denominator is total revenue, which is here. Then they told us that after putting that, in case you need to put an alternative, in case the answer is 0, or you're having 0 profits dividing by revenue, it will always give us maybe a 0, or it will give us there is that error you get when you're dividing by 0, in case the total revenue was broken and it was giving you a 0. In case you don't want to get those errors, you can always say that comma, in case you don't get anything, in case we are calculating this and we don't get anything, tab, bring back blank. So there is a function called blank in Power BI. So you see it opens and closes the bracket. So when you create blank, it just brings blank whenever there is nothing. So what is the next thing? This bracket is still showing a red. It means it needs closing. I may close it from here, or I can decide to close it from the bottom. Oh, my screen goes off again. Okay, yeah, it's back. So I'll close like that. So you see, this one is closing with this. You can even decide to put them in the same line by tabbing. But since it is in the same line with the function, we leave it from there. Now, this is very easy for you to read and update. Seriously, anyone who has done Power BI will know to interpret this. So as I said, you can even put your comments. This is Profits calculated already. Then here I put, this is maybe rev from the calculated column, like this. You see, you can explain each line in your data set. And that's what we call documentation in data analysis. Yesterday I had a video, I recorded it on YouTube. You can go there and watch it. It was about who is a good data analyst and what is good data analysis. So you look into that. There is documentation. This is part of documentation, such that anyone who comes to my measures, they can easily tell where the revenue is coming from, where the profit is coming from, because I'm explaining. But I'm not saying you have to do this every time you're putting together DAX. You don't have to do that. But now this one gives you an analogy that even if I'm using AI, I can tell AI that as you're giving me the DAX for the KPIs I've given you, please explain some of the maybe advanced lines included in the expressions. It will put these comments. We call them comments actually. So you can always tell AI whenever it is creating for you a DAX like this, please include comments for the advanced expressions or lines. So here we go. Now, let's add our profit on okay, here we go. Now, if we are working with this, let's say on this, we want to add the percentage profit margin. So I will click on that. I go to my reference label. I say I want to add a reference label on profit only. Then you can click on add data here. Then it will come search for what you want. So you can put profit. Then it brings the percentage here. Never scroll. You may have like thousands of them. Just always search for them. So the moment I click on that, you see, here we go. Looking nice. So it has added. So you see the profit is 1.77 and this is the percentage. It means if I uncheck black, it gives me 0.5%. But remember to come here on your profit, the DAX we have created, and you change this to percentage like that. That's when it will still change to percentage, not a number how it has been showing the other side. The moment you change that, you can decide that, okay, I give it 1 decimal. Then go ahead, click out, go ahead, minimize this. Even if you don't minimize it, but so long as you click somewhere else or you click on a table, it will disappear. You can always commute and click outside. It will always disappear like so. Okay. Now you see it has shown us the real percentage, 49.8%. The other time it was showing us 0.5. So you get that is Kawa. So when now we come to visuals, we are going to see how we can make this dynamic. It should become green. Maybe if it is above 50, it should be red when it is very easy. But when you have finished DAX, when you know that whatever I need to calculate is available, you can do the visualization with ease. So here we go. That is it. Is there any question before we step into? Okay. If we want to know how many transactions we have, that is transactions count. So let's calculate something else, which we are going to call. Now the objective where you will always need that to determine the total volume of sales, order transaction. Maybe you want to count the orders. So you'll always use count rows. So there is a function which we call count rows. So I'll click there, new measure. Guys, if I leave you, please, you unmute and tell me. So here if we want transaction count, boom, boom. Transaction count like this equals to. Now you know what I'm doing. I can do that. then tab. Now here we use a function called count rows, like this. Count rows, then we do another step down. Which rows are we counting? We are counting rows in fact final. You see, this table keeps appearing and it is not our friend. Actually, we shall have to go and deactivate it. So here we are counting rows in count fact final, which means every row in fact final is a transaction, is an order. So whenever we want that, shift enter, then we close our bracket. Then make sure that when you commit this, after committing, then give it a number. It's a whole number, but we can always put a comma in case it exceeds 1,000. So I'll cancel that. Then let's add it here. Actually, we're adding it under call out. No. We're adding it here. So this is the transaction count. So when we do like this, you see here it comes. You see 26 point that. But since they are not very many, I don't want them to give me that display. So we come back to our call out. Remember, you have to look out for this. Then you go to value and you say, my dear, I don't want any display. Just display it like that. Here you go. So you have those transactions. It means that if we change this to blue, it will give us the transactions in blue. 3,160.88 red, it will give us that. And even you see the profits, the percentage, everything is running cool. So you see that's how things will be. But this is just a refresher. Now, that is how you get the count of transactions using the count rows. So there are many others, like now there is also distinct if you want to count customers. Let's say, remember in the fact table, when we come to our data view, let's delete this thing from here. Delete from our model. We don't want it in our model. This fact cells, are you sure I want to delete this from the model? Yes, because it keeps appearing and I don't want it. Okay, now when we go to our fact final, when you check the customers, the customer keys, the customer IDs, obviously, even if I don't go to that, you know how our data was. That some customers have created like 1,000 orders. But if you want to count only the number of customers you have on board, how do you create that number? So that number is, we're going to do it like this. Let me reduce this here. So we are going to create now another measure. But the number of customers now we need new measure. Then here we want distinct customers. Distinct customers like this equals to move down. So I think now we are familiar with this tab. Start from there. Then here there is a function we call distinct count. You see that? So this one helps us to count only one customer at a time. So if I can roll down for fact, now when we go into our fact final, we look out for customer key. So you can always like type key here, all those values with key will come. Then you look out for the customer key, which is this. So when I click on that, which means I'll be counting, then enter, close our bracket. So I'll be counting only distinct customers. So X this. Actually, before you X, make sure you put a comma. Then also make sure you come here on call out, on value, and remove the, and here you have to call out. No, my video is still clicking on buttons. I have to click here. No, I have to first put now the customers I've counted here like this. You see, the customers I've added, distinct customers, 49. But there are many transactions, but there are only 49 customers. Obviously, because these ones were doing light brown. I think the same customers were doing all colors the same way. Yes. Here, but when you add like a filter for region, it will start changing customers, showing you which customers and which region. So that is it. I've also shown you how we use the distinct count. So distinct count, that one targets count how many unique non-duplicate customers that appear. So in analytics, we use it to like counting customers, maybe to concentrate the risk. If the company has a massive total number of customers, just you want to get out the independent ones. That's how you can go with that. Now, all that said, we are going to drop to another heavy and much used DAX function we call calculate. So the calculate function, this is the function that we use. It is like a gateway to advanced model. It helps you to override, clear, add filters inside it. So let's try it out. Now, there is a scenario we want to, let's go back to our, first go to our data and we look at stocks. Where are the stocks? Where are the stock table? This is the stock table. Now under stock table, we have in branding, you see now this is brand, but in brand, obviously we shall need to go to first. There is something I want to show you. Let's first go to Power Query Editor. So under stock tech, yes, Elizabeth?
Hi, Chris. I request you kindly remind me how you create that table with the colors, the one that we're tapping on, and then the rest of the parameters change.
How we create which table?
The table that had all the colors, the blue is in our report view.
Oh, no, okay, I'll go there and we'll look at it. Maybe I've not picked it right, but I'll go there. So here we are looking at stock item. We are going to look at that just a moment. Now there is a scenario when they tell you that let's go on city actually. Let's look at city. Yeah, city here. So when I look at city, I still have one city on the United States. Is that real? So I'm doing entire data. I have only United States. Let's look at state province. Okay, state province. We have, I'm going to write down here. Maybe we only want to get revenue for only California. But we want to get it in a way that we don't want people to filter first to know that this is the revenue for California. Or now you may say, I want to get revenue for California. Let's look at the stock here where we have colors. And we say, where is color? Where is color? Where is color? We had colors here. Okay, here. So when you look at the colors, okay, let's go with black. Now you've had the conditions I've talked about. We want to calculate revenue for only California for orders that came in with black, right? But first of all, let's start with calculating revenue for California, right? And then we shall go to calculating for multiple things. So this is how we do it. I will close and load. Then you always go to visual, then I can first look at what Elizabeth was asking. Elizabeth, what were you asking?
The count of index by color. Yes,
Oh,
that's the one.
here.
Yeah, just remind me how we come up with that one.
No, this is just a filter to help me, but how did I come up with this? This is whenever you click on this, actually, whenever you get someone's someone's Power BI file, and you want to know which visual they are using, just click on it, then come to build, you'll see what is selected. So when you check very well, what is selected is this, and this is a button slicer. So which means if I click here and I click on button slicer like this, then I can add whatever I need. But the other time I added colors like this from the fact table. I added colors here on values. Then what else did I add? I added also index, I think, the count. But since now we have transactions, we can look out for these transactions and put it here on values. No. Thank you. Now, after getting this button, which means we have to make sure that we align it very well, how many rows it has here on left. So here states if I click on California, you see everything now that filters is California for all. Then if I click on Hawaii, that is it. Oregon, that's it. So you can use this always to pass like a filter, but not for many buttons. Like if you have like 3 options, you can always make them buttons like this and give them fancy colors in the background. But that's how it is created. So if you want to clear everything, always click on that rubber, everything goes. But for now, actually, let me first hold it here for now. Okay, we are looking at calculate. So the calculate function, when you create a measure, okay, I have to first remove this, then I select my table. So select the table here. So it had created another measure, but I didn't want that. So select the table, then come to new measure. Now we are using the calculate function. So if we want to calculate total revenue in California, let's say, here we are going to say California revenue like this. You can even give it rev like this equals to. Now, here we use the calculate function because we have two things we are looking at. So we come and use the calculate function that let's tab and move down. Now the calculate function tells us put the expression, then after that give us the filter. What is our expression? Our expression is revenue, total revenue. We already have it calculated. How do you call it? By opening square bracket. Then when you start typing revenue, it will come. This is it, right? Then it is telling you put a comma, then put the filter. What is our filter? Our filter is we want California, but where is California? California is in the table of city, right? You see now you look for dim city and look for the state. Is it state province this? So the moment I click on that, then you put equals, then you open quotes because this is not a function. Then I will put California. Make sure that you have it the right spelling. Otherwise, it's going to break or it will give you wrong answers. So California. So then I can go ahead and close the other bracket. Now, what does it mean here? That we are telling Power BI that now that's the calculate function when you're having two things. Look out for the total revenue we have. Yes, it has brought it, but I want only you to give me the revenue for where state province dim city in the dim city table is only equal to California. And the moment I enter this, then I make this like that. Okay, I cancel now. Then let me create another new measure here, a new scorecard. Just want to test it out. Then I bring my California revenue here. So you see my California revenue is 8.85. So even if I click on Alaska, for it will not change. That is the purpose of calculate. That you may want a scorecard that is not going to change even if visuals are changed. Imagine you have called a scorecard total revenue of the company. And when someone changes the branch, that revenue also changes. Yet you called it total revenue, company total revenue. So when you're looking out for company total revenue, then you use the calculate. But that's there you use another option which we call all. There is an option you can even research about them, the way how calculate function runs. So which means if I click on California, you see that it will now filter California, which is 8.8, and this is the California. When I go to Hawaii, this one doesn't change because it is already printed as California revenue because we have used calculate. And there is a purpose for that. And you'll always find yourself wanting to do this. That when people click on a slicer, I don't want this value to change. It should always remain intact while others are changing. Then you use the calculate function. Now, in case now someone adds another thing that we want a revenue, like we said, a revenue from California and only black. Now this is the third. So which means we are going to go to this. Let me show you how we copy measures. Just come to this measure, copy it, enter, leave that, then create a new measure. When you have already created a measure and you see that you have a duplicate of that, don't hassle yourself to retype again. Copy it and adjust this. Now this we're adjusting it from here. We want to add their color black. So here we are going to use or. Now or means that you add. Actually in analytics or statistics, or means adding, and means multiplying, right? So if you know that, then it's okay. So here or in analytics, we use two straight lines, which are on your keyboard. If you're using a keyboard, sometimes they are near one, or sometimes they are above the enter button. So you press a shift and put these two lines. You see those? I've forgotten the name. But you put those lines, then but remember to put here a comma because now this is another, it is another, do we put a comma? No. So, or then we put another criteria. So another criteria we are bringing is color, which is black. So you can start typing by color, but it is showing us a lot. Then let's go to this. How did we call the table we have? How did we call it? If I can remember. So let me copy this, put it here. Then this was color, right? No, it was fact. Final fact. It was fact. Okay, now that crossing two tables. Let's first leave this. Here the or can come in if you want to pick to add two revenues. Let's say in the same column. That is if you say California and Oregon. California and Oregon, like this. So that's where you can use the or, because it has to be on the same column. That option we shall look at it later. It is an advanced one. So here, which means here we put Oregon like this. So what does this mean? it means that they are going to add 2 revenues for California and Oregon. And if we enter this, now here we go. Now I'm going to add this one here on our card. You see now here it is giving us California and Oregon. So which means if I click Oregon, these ones don't change. So let me press a control and click both Oregon and California like this. The two, you see we get 11.1 and 11.1, showing us that we are correct using it this way. So that's how you use the OR function. Then there is another one before we leave. I know we are getting out of time before even we try to use AI, but still we have time for, in case we are doing a full project, we shall run those. So let's use, in case you want orders that have quantities that are over maybe 500, right? Let's go back first in our model, transform, then we come to our column for quantities. Here we go. In case you have a long table and you're not going to stress yourself looking for quantities, always come here and say go to. Then the go to, just come and click here, quantities, click on it and say okay. It will take you there, right? You don't have to hustle looking for it. So the moment I select it, what I need is this. So I needed to look at, you see there are orders, actually you look at the maximum. The maximum goes to 360 and the minimum goes to 1. So let's say we want orders that we are having above 150. Maybe we want to pass a bonus, right? How do you get that, you as an analyst? Let's go back. I'm just going to close this because we have not applied anything. Now let's create our measure. Click on our table. Then come on, create new measure. Here now we are going to use large orders. Let's call them large orders like this, right? Equals to, enter. I think when you start using DAX, you'll not put your DAX in a single line. So when you come to large orders, now this is also where we use calculate function. So we are using a calculate function. Now, what are we looking at? We want to look at the transaction count. We want to know how many orders are above 150. So you'll say calculate orders, then you come, what is our measure? Open the bracket, square bracket, not curved bracket. Transaction, it will come. This is it, tab. I will have selected it. Then you do a comma. Here they are telling you. Then to put a filter, you put a comma. Then enter again. Now, what do we want to do? We want quantity that is greater than 150. You can start by typing quantity here like this. It will come, quantity. Then you look out for that fact final quantity, which is this. But what are we looking at? Greater than 150. Now, for the numbers, we don't put them in quotes. It is only alphabet or strings that we put in quotes. So I'll go below and close this right away. Now here you can say large orders. You can actually even put it here in the description. You open bracket and say greater than 150, like this. Then you go ahead and okay, like that. So that already gives us the count of orders that are greater than 150. So if I drag them and put them here, now my measures are becoming very many. I can't see. Just type transaction like this. So come, drag it there. You see this? The count of transactions we have. So it is giving us 26K. I don't want that. I want it. Wait a minute. Did we complete? No, okay, that was transaction. No, we calculated something else. We calculated large. I was wondering. We needed large. Yes, this is what we needed. So if you want to replace this exact one, just click on it, then you search large like this. Then when large comes, click on it, it will substitute. So you see now it is giving us 1K. I don't want it this way. I want it to spread and give me the real numbers. Click on it and come here on formatting. Then you know where we go. Under format, this format, you look for values and call out like this. You check here, large orders, then you go on values and look out for units, and I say none. This is what I need, 1,253. Those are the orders that are above 150. Now just imagine they have asked you, please tell us which province has more orders that are above 150. Very simple. Bring a table here, this, or a matrix. This is our matrix. Put there your state province, like this. So we're already doing a visualization. Put here your state province, then search for your large like this, and put it here under values like this. Then it will give you every province what they have. So you see the one which is large, you can always come here and then you sort. You see sort by, we are sorting by large numbers. Then it will sort. California is at the top. We get California at the top, Washington, You get very easy. So here you can easily tell where you're going to do more profits. And when you come and edit, the good thing now with measures, in case now your boss tells you, we are going to give out a lot of gifts, please, let's only look at orders that are above 200. They have changed. Just imagine that you are using calculated columns. You're going back to transformation into that data to dig changing to 200. I think Elizabeth has experience. I have looked at least at her data. You know now what it means. So for measures, you just come here and change this to 200, and everything will automatically change. You just enter, and when you exit this, you see everything has changed automatically. Just imagine you had a report with like 6 pages, and that visual or that visual is used like around 10 times. It all changes automatically. So you see now the numbers changed to 642. And even here, still California is leading. Hawaii is having only 6. So you can even go ahead and change it to what you need, either less or greater. That's now the advantage with measures, that you can always twist it at any time you feel like. Okay, now, before time goes the other way, I want us to talk about the time intelligence measures. So the time intelligence measures, these ones are functions that are specialized DAX calculations designed to perform cooperative operation across different cycles. Let's say you want year to date, you want previous year, you want growth trends, name them, month to date, name them. So, but before we go there, still I always look forward for making my things neat, right? Now you see how we have made these measures. Just we have made these by a flash, but remember there are still more measures you're supposed to make. Like you'll find yourself here in numbers like 50. Now, what if you say anything that is going to be giving us totals, we put it in its own folder? How do you do that? Let's do it. So when you come to data model, please pay attention here. When you come to data model, here you'll always see the measures. You have 10 measures. You have 5 expressions. These were calculated columns. You have 6 relationships. You have 8 tables. You'll always have all the numbers here. Now, under measures, these are my measures. I want all measures that have total to be in one folder. Let me start with one. The moment I click on one of them, just look at the properties here. It is telling me the name. You can even edit the name from here. You can change the table it is in from here. You can describe. Now, when you always want to give a description to a measure or a DAX, not to a line like how it was the other time, you can describe from here. You can say total sales. This describes, actually, yeah, okay, we didn't use it, but we had calculated it before. Total sales, this is the total sales for the whole company. So you can put your descriptions here. Then here the synonyms here you put, like if someone was to search, what should they, here it is automated somehow, but you can put keywords if someone is to search for it, whether it should pop up, right? But it is always like by default. Now this is it. Display folder. Display folder, the moment I type here any name of a folder, that DAX will automatically go into that folder. Now this folder, I'm calling it totals, like this. So the moment I call it totals, you can even come here and give it formattings and all that, but this is all about this DAX. So the moment I click out, you see working on it. Here you may not you may not see that it has gone in the folder, but when you come back to visual, we shall see a folder created here. You see this folder? It has created total with totals. And when you open it, you see total sales is already inside, right? So those are the options it has. In case you want to create a new measure inside there, you can use it that way. Now let's go and put all the others in. You go back to data model. You can't drag and drop like this. You can't when you're on visual. You only do that when you're under data model. But now what we do here, we are going to copy the same name that is here on totals, like this. Copy. Then you select all these totals. This, you press a Control or a Shift. Like this, you click on this, you click on this. I've selected all of them. Then you come and paste the other name here. So it means that all of them have put them in that folder. You see, I am already now, even if I have event and I put all of them there, they are not going to disorganize my data. So whenever I need totals, I come here. Let's look out for maybe performance and put like some of them here just to make sure that everything is aligned. So let me go back here. Now this control, this maybe, and maybe this. Let me call this performance, like this. Even you can put a number for it to make sure that they are in that order of numbers. You can put 2 dot performance like this, such that they don't put themselves into they don't sort themselves by alphabet. You know how you sort them. Then these ones, the first ones, when I select all of them, they bring that folder of theirs. I put 1. Then the remaining ones, let me put them, these ones I say these are exceptions. Click Control, select that and that. Let me call this number 3 exceptions. So the moment I go back to that, You see what is happening here. You see everything is well arranged. Totals number 1, performance number 2, this number 3. So it is easy for me to look out for what I want in an arranged manner without having a long list of measures. Looking for a measure and you get tired. Or you have like 4 measures that have nearly the same names. You have one that is revenue final, another one revenue final, another one revenue final. You get disorganized in the middle of you doing the analysis. Okay, that is done. Why did I do this? Because I wanted to add these time intelligence measures. So we have few minutes, but you'll allow me next like 5 minutes, we complete this such that when we come back next time, it is basically visuals. Now, I can't create you can't create a folder that has nothing. So I will have first click here, then we first go and create our measure. Now let's start with a measure of Y to date. That is year to date. So how do we create a measure for year to date? Create a measure, it's creating. Year to date is YTD revenue. It can be year to date revenue, it can be year to date profits, it is up to you. Now, what is year to date? Year to date is January 1st up to the month or the date you have selected in your filters. If you select a date of maybe 13th Feb, it is counting from 1st of Jan to 13th Feb. If you select 31st December, it counts from 1st Jan to 31st December, depends on what you have selected. That is year to date. Year over year, it looks at the date you have selected, the previous year and this year, and that comparison. Month to date is, if today is 28th, month to date is 1st of this month to 28th today. Month on month, it is the same thing, comparing last month and this month. Then there is also what we call same period last year, same period last month. Some of them are straightforward. Okay, here we are doing our year to date. You know now what I'm doing. Now the year to date, we use a function called total YTD. That function is there. Now, before we do anything, this is what you always have to check. I'm escaping. Before you do anything, I will always have to go first to data model, then you go to calendar options. You check whether your calendar table or your date table is checked as a calendar. You can always do it from the data view, such that you don't have a lot of options. Calendar options. Before you start doing time intelligence DAX, you have to always to make sure that your table which has dates is marked here as a calendar table. Now this gives you the reason why I said when you're doing any data analysis, you must always have a calendar table. Call it a calendar table or a date table, a dim date, whatever it is, but it is a table that has dates and all the splitting of dates, month number, week number, day, all that. So here you click on calendar, you look for it, enter the, oh, this is when you already have it, close without saving. Here we already have it. New calendar table. Do we have a calendar table here? So come on that, then we select it here. Where is our table? This is it. So when we click on this table, there has to be option of mark it as a calendar table. Where is it? Option, calendar options, yes. Now you should have selected it. Actually, this is what I had wanted to tell you. That's why we come on the data view, then you select your table that has a calendar. Then when it is selected, when you come here, it automatically picks. You see, it brings mark as a calendar table. But when we had clicked somewhere else, you see this, It was not getting any date. That's why it was telling us to create a calendar table. So I think that is mastered, right? So here we go. Options, then mark as date table. Then after marking it as a date table, it is going to tell us to switch on, mark as a date table, switch on like this. Then you select the column that has the date. It will come automatically because you have already clicked on this. This is the date. This is the master for this table. It is the unique ID. It automatically picks here and validated successfully. The moment you get that, go ahead and save and done. Now, that is the first thing you have to do before you start calculating the month to date, year to date. You're not going to get the answers right. You're going to get things that are disorganizing you the more. Now we can go back and create our measure now. Click here, create a new measure. Okay, now our new measure is the YTD revenue, right? So we are getting, this is equal to, then that tab, then we said we have a function total YTD, like this. You get it is there. There is even when you do month to date, MTD, it has also the total MTD. So they're all there. So here when you say YTD, it will always come, this is it. Then they ask you what is the expression. We know exactly now what is the expression. Just what is the expression? Our expression is total revenue because you're looking for total revenue. So we shall open square bracket for you to pick the total revenue like this. Remember, we are going with total. Then do a comma because they are telling us put the filter. Okay, that thing is confusing me. Put the filter. What are we filtering? We are filtering this in relation to the dim date, the other date. So you'll just come here and look out for that for your dim date, or it can be calendar table and look for this master date, this, and there you're done. And you close this, you have it. So this is your year to date. So go ahead and commit it. Now, when you commit it, that is our revenue year to date. Now here we have to add something that is going to tell us whether we are computing the right thing. Now, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this table. Let me exit and take it on another page. Now I'm going to change this table to put months. So here I'm going to check for months like this, calendar month label. So here we are putting a month, then here we are putting total revenue like this. Total, this was revenue like this. Now on top of the total revenue, here we are putting also, on the values, I want to put two columns, then we compare. This is year to date. This is our year to date. You get. Now, where is month? Month is this. This is the month I needed. Now, on this month, I am going to create two things, two filters, to make sure that I am going to have a filter, not that type of filter. We are using this filter. I'm going to create a filter for year and create another filter for month. So this, we call it year. Where is our year, this. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see how we can filter. Now this is the monster we are having. Let me minimize this such that we have bigger stuff. Now you see our months are starting from April to September. Do you know the reason why? Because they are sorting alphabetically. Now, that is the reason why we always have the calendar table. So when we come to the calendar table, you have to make sure your months sort as how you need them. So you see this month, there is a reason why we have the month number. Where is the month number? Calendar month number. We are not going to use it anywhere, but its purpose is here. So when you select the month, there is here sort by. So we don't want it sort alphabetically, April to always come on top. We want always it to sort by the month number. Where is the calendar month number like this? Such that January should be 1, Feb should be 2. So if you go back, you'll find it has already changed. You see this? Now January to December. Note that. Many people have always called me about that. You create a chart, the chart is starting from April. You try to sort it, it brings September. You get? So that is the only trick you use. Now, when you look at this data, let me select 2023 to 2023. Actually, this is a slicer you can drag like this. So we are only looking at 2023. Now, these are the total revenues. These are month to date. Now, when you check that, when we add this and that, we should be getting this total. Let me now select March. So let me select this. Control is that. Now you look at this. Here we have January. This is the total revenue for January, for Feb, for March. But here we start with 90. 90 adds with this to make this. This adds with this to make this. And ideally, this is the total here. I don't know whether you understand it. But this is the total of the whole sum. But this is the month to date. Sorry, year to date. It means from January to March, the total is 154. But is that okay? This is giving us the total revenue, and this is giving us the year to date. I think there is a selection that is somewhere that I may not figure out with dates and all that. But we shall do that on visuals. I just wanted to show you the difference that comes with year to date and the total revenues. So year to date, if it is 28th of January, year to date is 1st to 28th of that month. That is year to date. And you can, now in your trials, I will want you to try month to date. Obviously, month to date, if you want to test it, you'll put the number of days and select them, and you see whether it gives you the right answer. Then there is also same period last year. Like same period last year. So when you come to same period last year, it is also a visual that, let's copy this. Now, when we are calculating same period last year, revenue last year, which means here we shall say revenue last year. So you have selected maybe 2 dates, like yesterday up to today, 27th of July to 28th of July. It will give you the revenue for last year, the 2 days. That is same period last year. So same period last year, we do it this way. So here you use the calculate instead of the year to date. So you use the calculate function like this. Obviously, we go with total revenue. Then here we come and put the function for same period last year. It is also there. So same period last year, then you pick what are you comparing with. We are comparing this with our date, dim date, this. That's the date you'll always be using to make those comparisons. So that one gives you the same period last year, that if someone selects March 2026, the value you'll be getting for this will be for March 2025. So that is same period last year.